Maul would spend the next months searching Tatooine. All he had was the knowledge that somewhere on these sand dune seas, the Jedi was in hiding. He could sense his presence, but again we see how this all-consuming want for vengeance was driving him mad. Like back on the trash heap planet Lotho Minor, he manically swings back and forth between self-pity and righteous anger.
Will it end here? Like this? No. No. Kenobi.
Back on the Rebel secret base, Ezra is awoken by a replay of Kenobi's message from the Jedi Temple, sent just moments after Order 66, warning the survivors not to return to Coruscant. He's unsure how this is happening, but he also hears Maul through the Sith holocron.
New hope.
Through their linked minds, just as Maul could so easily find Ezra, the Jedi can sense that Maul has gone to Tatooine to look for Kenobi. He then tells the Spectres of this, but Captain Rex reminds him of the personal accounts of Senator Organa.
Ezra, no one would like to believe General Kenobi's alive more than I would, but Senator Organa confirmed his death.
Defying Hera's orders to focus on the liberation of Lothal, he steals an A-Wing and heads for the desert world. By using the fragments of the Sith and Jedi holocrons, he can focus and let it guide him like a Force compass. He tracks the sources down to a cavern and finds a fragment of the Sith holocron, but is then set upon by Tusken Raiders. Maul knew his potential apprentice would arrive, and used him to draw Kenobi out. Once the ship was destroyed by the Tuskens, the boy was forced to walk on foot. As a massive sandstorm surges over them, Maul calls out through the Force.
Draw him out.
Kenobi sees the lost soul, and will not let him die in the desert. He takes him to the campfire, and comforts who he learns is a young Jedi. Kenobi assures him that it was not the holocrons that wanted him to come here, but more of Maul's manipulation.
Maul used your desire to do good to deceive you, and in doing so he has altered the course of many things.
Using their bond, Maul tracks the two down, and as he walks up to the man that cut him down 30 years before, Kenobi calmly rises and tells Ezra that he must be the one to finally settle this. And in the words he chooses, it shows a level of peace and goodwill that Kenobi has achieved by meditating all these years in the light side, not addressing him with derision or trolling, but understanding that this Dathomirian Zabrak was a wounded creature, just another thing the Sith had destroyed, and he says that he will mend this wound.
I will mend this old wound.
Maul, however, is still consumed by his hatred, pointing out how despite Kenobi's noble alliance to the light, he is scraping by on this wasteland of a planet.
I have come to kill you, but perhaps it's worse to leave you here, festering in your squalor.
Kenobi just watches the creature that has spent a lifetime twisted by his anger, until Maul hits on something sacred. The visions given by the Force did not just show him Kenobi, but the old hermit's role in protecting Luke. Maul teases this fact out, revealing that he knows why Obi-Wan has chosen this world to hide out on.
You are protecting something? No. Protecting someone.
At this, Kenobi knows their storied history must come to an end. His blue blade ignited, he cannot permit this secret to escape, and Maul feels that all of his training has led up to this moment. While the old man languished in obscurity in the sand dunes, Maul had commanded criminal empires, studied the depths of the Night Sister and ancient Sith rituals, even peered past the veil by merging the light and dark. But Kenobi had so much more, the simple fact that he was carrying out the will of the Force. As these lifelong enemies faced each other for the last time, the battle would be a quick series of saber strikes, the blue blade meeting the double-bladed lightsaber, until a swift and efficient movement brought Kenobi's saber down through the center of the staff, and through the chest of this tortured being. Knowledge of Luke was not something Kenobi could toy with. This fight could not be dragged out, but had to be ended immediately. Finally defeated, blades fell to his side, and Kenobi dropped down to hold the man that had haunted him for decades. Kenobi knew that at the core they had both lost everything due to Darth Sidious, and with Maul's dying breath he asked one final question.
Tell me, is it the Chosen One?
He is.
He will avenge us.
Maul once said that he would never die until he had his vengeance, and so Maul perished knowing that the Sith Lord who had ripped him from his mother trained him like a savage animal, filled him full of hatred and rage only to dispose of him when he found a replacement. The Dark One that undermined each of his triumphs over Death Watch and Mandalore, over the Shadow Collective and Crimson Dawn. The Sith Lord that killed his brother, his mother, his entire clan, and who now happily rested upon the throne as Emperor of the Galaxy. That Sith would be killed. And fittingly for Maul, Sidious's downfall would come from his apprentice, when Vader would revert back to the light, back to the man he once was under Kenobi's apprenticeship. In training Luke to confront Vader, it would be his archenemy Kenobi's actions that ultimately helped Maul get his revenge. This duel of fates was finally over, and Maul went to his oblivion. Kenobi showed respect for Maul, gently closing the eyes of a man who had killed his master and murdered the love of his life. He then made a proper funeral pyre in the style of Qui-Gon's on Naboo. Maul's legacy would be felt in the galaxy for decades to come, with his ship the Night Brother being the vessel used to transport Ezra and Clan Ren's Mandalorians to Thrawn's interdictor, which was moments away from destroying the newly formed rebellion. And during Operation Cinder, Leia Organa would sense the impact of Maul's reveal in the Theed hangar on Naboo, an event that left an imprint in the Force, causing her to grow cold and fearful. But most of all, the Wills, those that recorded the great epics of galactic history, and from whom we learn of the Skywalker saga. These Force shaman, the Wills, noted Maul as a being of great galactic importance. And that concludes the complete life of Darth Maul.